Bidding at the auction can be very lucrative. It can also be very risky. It all depends if you know what you're doing. My name is Liran Koren. I've been participating in the auction for about 10 years, physically and online, and I've met so many people during these years that are so-called investors that have made a lot of mistakes and lost a lot of money. Today I'm going to show you an auction that it's coming, and I'm going to do some title searches, but before that I want to talk about what does it mean participating in the auction, in the foreclosure auction. First of all, whatever you buy it without any title insurance. You buy it as is. Okay, there is no guarantee to get in the real property, right? You can buy a second lien position mortgage, or you can buy an HOA foreclosure. It doesn't mean that you're gonna get a free and clear title to the property. So it depends in how you do your research. When you participate in the auction, you have no way back basically. The moment you win, you have to pay 5%. It's withdrawing from your account immediately, and you have to come up with the next day with the remaining 95% of the sale, or you're gonna lose your deposit. So once you pay for that sale, it takes about 10 to about 15 days to get title, and that gives you the right to have possession to the property, sell the property, and do whatever you want with it. But you gotta check what are the other underlying issues that were existed before you bought the property. And that can be HOA liens, that can be city lien violations, it can be taxes, and it can even be other pending foreclosures sometimes. So you really have to be sure, first of all, you have to know what you're buying. And second of all, you have to do your due diligence in a way that's gonna make you feel comfortable with your bid. Now let me give you an example. Let's say you see a property and it's worth about $100,000. Okay, you in the market, you research and you saw that it can at least be sold for $100,000 after you put it up to a marketable condition, to a sellable condition, you do some renovations, some cosmetics, etc. That's worth $100,000. The bank comes and wants to foreclose on that specific property, and there is a judgment for $200,000, and the bid is hidden. So nobody knows what the bid is, and you have an opportunity to bid whatever you want, and maybe you're gonna get it, and maybe you're not gonna get it. So if you find out that the property's value is $100,000, and you wanna make 20 to 30% on your money, how are you gonna do it? You gotta take into calculations that you're gonna have, in addition to buying the property at the auction, you're gonna have doc stamps fees, and then you're gonna have some sort of renovations, repairs that you're gonna have to do to the property to bring it up to date. And then you also have to look at the other inferior liens that were existed when you purchased that property. And that can be a big pitfall, and it can also be a big advantage if you know this information. And that's usually the biggest question mark to all of us, all of the investors who participate in the auction, is to actually understand how much owed against that property, how much owed besides the money I'm going to pay today to the auction, how much additional money I'm going to have to put in that property, and what should be my bid if the property is worth $100,000. So let's say that specific $100,000, you went to that property, you had a look, and you actually knocked on the door, there was a tenant there, and he told you the property is in great condition. Okay, so here is a one check mark. The property is in great condition, meaning you're gonna have to put maybe $5,000. So we know we have an estimated $5,000 in terms of repairs. Then you're gonna have to dig into title, and you're gonna see which and what liens are recorded against that property. If that property is in HOA community, obviously the HOA need to be paid every single month, and you need to know or kind of find out what is the outstanding balance with the HOA or the HOAs. It can also be an homeowner association and master association. So your job is to know how much is the outstanding balance with the HOA. And let's say it's $3,000, okay? That's a great scenario, but it can also be like $30,000, and that can kill your deal. And that's actually the deal breaker for a lot of people who participate in the auction, is actually knowing what is the outstanding balance for the inferior liens and the other parties of interest who has interest to your property, such as I just mentioned, HOA, taxes. You can have city lien violation, code enforcement, that you can check it against the owner's name and see if that exists. You can also check for code violation, permits issues, the city's websites, and check that. And once you check all of that and you have a number, an estimated number, then your chances of putting a reasonable bid is more likely. So you have $5,000 in renovations, you have $3,000 in HOAs, and you have some clerk quotes, let's call it $2,000. So you have another $10,000 in expenses, in additional expenses you're gonna have no matter what, the price you're gonna pay at the auction. So if I buy it for $50,000, I have another $10,000 I'm gonna pay, and if I sell it for $100,000, I'm gonna have $40,000 growth. In percentages, that's very healthy percentages. That's like an amazing flip. But let's say we don't wanna make 40% on our money or 60% on our money. We wanna have a business that we can accumulate inventory and sell it in a healthy percentage very, 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 very quick. So if first mortgage is foreclosing and there is no other pending lawsuits or anything like that, you should bid in accordance with this information. So if you bid $60,000, your total cost is going to be about $70,000 plus you have realtor commissions that you have to pay. So let's say $75,000 you're going to have total cost. But you're going to be profiting about $25,000 with that specific bid. So you can even increase that bid if you want to make less margin and work on volume. Okay? To make 20 or 40% on one deal, it's great, but to make 20% average on 20 or 30 deals during the year, that's compound interest. That's a better way to invest. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go through some cases, some title searches, and we're gonna check how should you do your search, okay? How should you minimize your risk before participating in the auction, and especially before bidding in the auction. Okay, I wanna take this example. I'm looking right now at the auction, and I'm looking at a case that is very interesting. It's something that people should really look for title and check if it's worth buying at all, because the bank is not the one foreclosing here. Actually, it's actually a person against a person. So let me show you what I see. This property here is people are bidding in it, and the final judgment is $61,000, and the bid started at $61,000. The property itself, it's worth much more than that. If I look at the search subdivisions, you can see over $200,000, 170 sales. And you can see the difference between the price they're bidding to the price that the property is actually worth. So even if I look at the map, right now I'm just showing you the map here on my computer, and that's basically the property appraisal map in Broward County, and that allows me to do comparable pretty quickly. Might not be the most accurate, but as you can see, if I'm looking for sales for 2019, it's very easy for me to see that this property is going for anywhere from $170,000 to over $200,000 in accordance with the comps I'm seeing here on my map. So people are now bidding at this property for $88,000. You might ask yourself, oh my God, it's not a brainer. Oh my God, $88,000, the property is worth about $200,000. I can rent it, I can keep it, I can flip it. Life is amazing. But guess what? Life is not that amazing, because this is not a mortgage foreclosure. And when it's not a mortgage foreclosure, you're not getting the same rights to the deed, to the title. So when you buy in mortgage foreclosure, basically you are stepping into the foot of the plaintiff, of the lender. You're taking their position. You are buying their position. So if I bought a first mortgage foreclosure and something went wrong with the title, me, as somebody who step into the shoes of the lender, I can actually clean my title, because I'm superior in my priority, in my lien, in my strength, in what I bought. I can do reformation of mortgage. I can do reformation of legal description or correct the deed if I need to. because I bought the position of the mortgage, and that's the strength that I inherited when I did that. So right now we are looking at the case that it's actually as a consequences of damages, of money damages. There was no promissory note signed or anything like that, and I'm going to show you how I found out. It was actually very simple for me. I just went to the property appraisal over here, and when I clicked here, I saw that there was a change, there was a probate case over here, so somebody must have just passed away, and I saw they bought the property in 1984, but when I was searching for Green Christine and the owners of the house, I didn't find a lot of information, but I had to actually look at the case to see this case number, to see what's going on, to actually go to the docket, clerk of court docket, and read the story. Why do I have to speculate, you know? And I can just read the story. I can see who is suing who and what position am I buying. Why should I just speculate? A lot of people are just looking at the property and are getting so excited. Oh my God, I'm buying a property for $96,000 as the price is going on right now. And I'm going to make $100,000. I'm going to make $50,000. I'm such a winner. But in reality, okay, you are not buying the mortgage foreclosure, and you are probably not getting a clear title. And there is a reason why us people sitting here in front of a computer and not bidding and going crazy of it, because we are real investors. We know what we are doing. Some other people who think they're buying a property are just sometimes killing the sale and actually losing money. So I just want to take this as an example of something you should look for and not go after. When you are participating in the auction, it's not very common to find cases like that, but it happens. So this case in specific, when I go to the clerk of courts and I can search for basically case numbers there, and all I need to do is to put the case number here, and I'm gonna find everything I need to know about this foreclosure. So as you can see, Michael Reuser against Nathan, and this is not a mortgage, this is not an HOA. You can see here all kind of information, and what I'm looking for actually is to go inside the complaint and read what are they suing for, what position am I buying, and that's very, very important. Of course, you can look at the motions to cancel and all that information. That's going to give you a lot of information, but if I'm just going to go to the complaint here, I already opened it, and you can see exactly what's going on. What's going on with this property? Why is this property here, over here, that everybody is bidding on, why is it going to foreclosure? Why is it going to auction? You know, that's one of the most important things I'm trying to explain my students, anybody who's trying to consult with me, my followers, is understand the logic first of all. Understand the logic of why properties are coming to the auction, what are the problems associated with this, and how you can resolve it. If it's either buying them off before they come to the auction, it's either helping other people with money and buying their position. There is a lot of things you can do if you understand the problem. And I like to understand the problem because this helps me to create a solution and come up with a win-win. So as you can see here, the plaintiff is Michael and Mary Rosier. Sue's defendant Nathan Colson, blah, blah, blah. And it's action for damages. And then I tell you the story, okay? They reside in that Lauderhill apartment, and in 2007 they agreed that some people would live there and care for children, and there was some sort of an agreement. The plaintiff basically suing for money damages here, and here you can see the plaintiff Michael immediately contacted the probate attorney. And they have also a probate case in that. There is an estate associated. Oh my God, and there is a lot of mess going on here. For this kind of position that whoever is buying it here, okay, they're not really buying a mortgage position. They're not really buying anything like that. They're basically buying money damage lawsuit, and they have to make sure that there isn't any other mortgages associated with this property. where there might be some mortgages associated with this property. There might not. You're gonna have to run a full title search because there might be outstanding mortgages and liens on this property. So, and that's one of the scariest things, to buy property when you bought the wrong position, and then you can lose your $100,000 as a whole. So a case like that, before even going full power, what I would suggest people is consult your attorney. If this property is going to be sold anyway because it's starting at $61,000, and if title is good, people are going to bid on it. So if you want to bid on it as well and participate in that one, since there is a legal complication and might be the title might be clouded, basically, first thing I will tell you before you bid, call your attorney, pay him $100 or whatever he charges you to tell you it's okay to bid. Because this is not a regular title search, and you have to be very, very careful when you buy properties, okay? When other people are suing each other, and you're not actually buying a mortgage foreclosure or anything like that that can eliminate the inferior liens. This foreclosure in specific is not going to eliminate any inferior liens. It's not going to eliminate second mortgages. It's not going to eliminate first mortgages. It's not going to eliminate any liens or any inferior liens whatsoever. So you basically buy in a very weak position, hoping that nothing else is owed against that property. And in order to be sure in that, check with your attorney. Okay, I'm back to the auction and people are still bidding on that property. It makes me curious, okay? It makes me curious to know if this property is good or not. And I went ahead and I checked title using one of the programs I use, and actually give me all sort of errors when I try to actually get the result. So even for me, if I was bidding at the auction, okay, even when I use my title information, as you can see here, it came, I read the search of that property, and some weird things are happening with the title of this property, and I just want to call my attorney. That's what I do when I have these cases, because that's going to help me understand either I can prevail, I can overbid everybody else just in 1 second, or I can just give up on this case and never look back, because I don't want to lose $110,000. And I already ran this search here and I spent some money to actually get a report, but I want to call my attorney. I want to do the same thing I'm suggesting you to do. I'm going to do against that property, even though I'm not bidding on that property, but that might change if I like it. So let me see if I can call my attorney here, see if he's available, and ask him if he can do me a favor and look at the title search here.
Hello?
Hey Harry, good morning. How you doing? You have a second by any chance?
Yeah.
Are you next to your computer by any chance?
Yes.
I just ran a title, Eric, and it came back like weird result. I'm just wondering if you can tell me what's, just kind of briefly, if you tell me it's okay to bid on it or not.
Hold on, let me take a quick look.
It was very weird case. It was money damages case. It's actually a person against another person.
Is that the 1500?
Yes.
Let's see.
Yeah, something is weird. There is a case number. I wonder if you can check it. 15. Okay, I can give you the case number that they're suing for today.
What's the case number?
CACE 15
Yeah.
18087.
Okay. Michael Rozier versus Nathan Colson.
Exactly.
Partial summary judgment. And then there was a final summary judgment on an equitable lien or a constructive trust. And it's trial judgment. And the final judgment on equitable lien on his interest property sold his property came on some interest trust.
They filed a motion to stop the foreclosure. They tried to, I guess. Actually, they stopped it November 19 and it came back.
Did not appear. Okay.
Nature of this motion for cancellation is that defendant have entered into a private sale of the real property due to certain city liens and signature of the seller who is not available. That was a big mess here. This property.
Yeah, this is not even let's see, who they named, did they?
Yeah, people are bidding on it like crazy, and I think they're making a huge mistake.
What a nightmare this is. Oh my God.
Title is a huge issue there, I think.
Yeah, this is, yeah.
Well, what's going on though?
I don't know. Let's see. I'm trying to look and see the original complaint.
From what I saw, yeah, it's money damages. The complaint, I'm looking at the complaint too, actually. It's not a complaint, it's a story. It's a story tale. It's a book. Blah, blah, blah. Contact staff.
Like they did it themselves. And then they probably got.
Okay. Police report, incident, so many stuff.
These are the estate. Oh my God. This is crazy. I mean, there's no way I'd be able to tell you, looking all at it. There's no way I can look all this stuff over it.
Right. No, I get it.
Yeah.
They are buying the position of damages. They're paying $120,000 for it right now, Eric.
I mean, do you know if there's anything on it?
I don't see any mortgages. I didn't see anything else. That's why I'm trying to.
Why did you see it? Because the search didn't work.
Yeah, search didn't work. I couldn't see it.
Yeah.
So there's no way to actually be sure.
Hold on, let's see.
Let's see who paid the taxes. Let's see.
Do it express. Let's do it by property ID. Let's
Paid by the
property ID and let's find that.
This case I should have checked like maybe 2 days ago. Like it takes time to get this one right.
This just looks like a mess, that's all. Let's see what we got. Yeah, won't come up.
Won't come up.
No.
Okay, better to be safe than to be sorry.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially with this one.
Especially with this one, because you don't even know what could happen after the sale, right?
Exactly. Okay, Eric, thank you very much.
No problem.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
This is how you check title. You're not sure, you call your attorney. Your attorney is not sure, you're definitely not buying this property, okay? Are you gonna put $120,000, okay, just to make maybe $60,000 and maybe lose $120,000? What would you prefer? To make $60,000 or maybe lose $120,000? Look at the screen right now, it's $122,000 on a case that people don't actually know what title is about. Just buying the property because they think it's worth $190,000, $200,000. They're buying for $120,000, and this is where it ends. It doesn't end here, guys. It doesn't end here. You're gonna have to have a marketable title, clean and clear, in order to convey it. If there is any other mortgages, any other person who has another claim on this property that was not recorded, you're gonna hear about them after you buy this property. So don't think you're gonna buy a property, whatever you're gonna pay, and everything is good, because it might not be good, especially in this case. And that's the reason I brought this case as a case study. Okay, and I put my attorney on the phone as well. And that's my process. My process is very simple. I need to understand value, and then I need to understand condition, I need to understand information, and when I'm happy with what I have, then I go to title. I'm never gonna buy a property without doing title. I'm never gonna place my bid without doing title. I'm never gonna overbid other people comfortably without knowing title is good. There is a very interesting case coming right now to the auction. It's an HOA foreclosing, and I'm gonna show you how to do title search for it. Okay, so we are waiting for the next sale right now that it's coming up here. It's a house in Parkland. It's a city in Broward County. Very nice house that is coming for sale. And that's gonna trigger a lot of people interest because the starting bid is only $26,000. So a lot of people can get confused or think that they're buying a house, and actually the HOA is foreclosing here. So I want to teach you what you're gonna be buying if you be successful bidder on that sale, and what's your position is gonna be. So in order for us to look at the title search, I'm gonna show you how I normally do it and what am I looking when I'm searching for HOA foreclosures. So when I click on that link here on that folio, it opens up the property appraisal and I can get more information about that property. And as you can see, the market value is about $600,000 here, and you can do them. So I can look at the comps here, and I can see it's selling up to $800,000, and it's only coming for $26,000. So what's the catch? You know, what's the situation here? Is that going to be something that is going to be good to buy, or is that going to be something that people might be losing their money? That's a good question, and I'm going to answer that. And the first answer I would say would be, what is your strategy? Are you buying this property thinking you're going to get a clear title? If you think you're going to get a clear title when you're buying HOA lien, that's a false assumption. There is probably another mortgage on that property. That mortgage can also be foreclosing at the same time, and if you buy this property, you might lose your position as a whole, and lose all the money that you have invested by being a successful bidder. So that's one assumption. If you're buying this property just because you want to keep it, rent it, recoup your investment, then you're gonna have to look if there is another lender that is already foreclosing, because the idea of keeping properties when you buy an HOA foreclosure is actually to keep them as much as you can as the owner, rent them out, recoup your expenses, and start making money. And that's what I was doing when I was buying HOA foreclosures. The first thing you want to know when you buy an HOA foreclosure, you want to know if the bank is also suing. And that's a big game changer here, because if the bank already started a foreclosure, you're never going to be able to intervene to that case and trying to stall it by hiring a foreclosure defense attorney. If you buy the property before the bank started a foreclosure and you get positioned in the chain of title as the owner, when the banks forecloses, they have to name you as a defendant, which is not a bad thing, especially if you bought it under an entity. Then you can hire a foreclosure defense attorney and you can litigate that case for years while collecting rent. But the only way you can do it is if you can actually be indispensable party to that lawsuit, meaning that your title has to be recorded before the bank start their foreclosure. Right now, the HOA is suing for their debt, and we can also look how they calculated that debt. But what I want to see is I want to actually go to the property and I want to run title search from the warranty date from the day it was actually bought against that person from 2002. And I'm going to go to the public recording department. I'm just going to enter his name. I'm going to search from 2002, and I can get all the documents I want, or I can only search for certain documents like mortgages or lease pendants, and I can see if there is a mortgage that is also suing. So the first thing I would do is actually I would search for another lease pendants. I want to see who are the parties that are suing against that specific name. As you can see here, I found 3 different parties, 3 different dates, and the last one is Deutsche Bank. And remember when I said you only buy an HOA foreclosure when the bank did not start their lease pendants yet. And as I'm looking here right now, if I'm looking at my, if you look at my computer, you can clearly see there is a lease pendants filed, and you can clearly see that it's referencing that property address, which is 7765 Northwest 128th Avenue in Parkland, Florida. So there is a case going on in that property already by the lender, and that's why, as you can see, it started at $27,000, and now it's $31,000. I personally wouldn't buy this property because I don't like to buy properties after the lease pendants. The meaning of buying properties after the lease pendants is that you would never be able to intervene to that case and stall it. So the bank can actually run so quickly and eliminate your interest within a certain period of time that can even be like month. So you can pay $30,000 or $40,000 on this property, and the bank can comes and finish their foreclosures, and you are out of the game. And this is the foreclosure that is happening by the bank. And I'm gonna explain you exactly what we're looking at right now. Just want to make sure that this sale, as you can see, is still going on. And I want to explain you what we are seeing right now. I want to explain you the foreclosure information from the bank. So the HOA is foreclosing on this case. We actually make it as a case study. We can actually look at that case as well, and we can see the difference of an HOA foreclosure to a mortgage foreclosure. And I'm going to explain you the rules of the game here as well, and what's going to happen. All right. So as you can see, the HOA started a foreclosure, and they named the defendant, and they are foreclosing already. They already named everybody, and they're bringing their foreclosure for sale, and it's going still for $35,000. And this is the sale that people are buying today, basically. And you can look at the judgment, and you can see that the summary judgment was entered. You can look at the final judgment of foreclosure, which will tell you the breakdown of the costs. See all the association interests and late fees and everything, and then it came up to $18,000 plus. Guess what? The association took another $7,000. That's what they do. That's why they are filing those liens. The HOA. The HOA is gonna get paid $27,000, and the remaining of the funds is gonna go to the previous owner. But just look how a lawsuit looks like by the HOA, basically. You see all the fines, everything, late fees, title searches, expert cost. See, this is ridiculous. All these are just lies and lies and lies, to be honest with you. 32 hours to do that lawsuit. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. You see, that's how equity works, basically. That's how the association create equity of thin air. Okay, they had $11,000 debt, they put this, they put that, they made it $18,000, and then all of a sudden they're $27,000. You see what happens if you don't pay your HOA? That's why it's a law of equity. It's an equitable argument here that whoever have interest to your property can have claim against that property. So to own a property, you have to pay the HOA. If not, look what happens. The HOA forecloses on you, and they're not just foreclosing on you, they're collecting everything that you owe them, plus interest, plus fees, plus attorney fees. So in the end of the day, they are taking equity from your property because they are creating debt. And that's what they're doing. And I'm gonna just continue that explanation about this specific case and why is it so bad to buy it, especially for me. Okay, the $43,000. What are they buying? What are they buying for $43,000? Okay, it's not even 43. It's just continue to increase. But what are they buying? Basically, here we are looking at what is the mortgage foreclosure? That's the HOA. That's the mortgage. There is another pending case started already. Okay, that started. When did it start? In February 2009. It started almost a year ago. Okay, so there is a pending lawsuit from Deutsche Bank against that property that started a year ago. That means that within 6 to 8 months, okay, the bank here, they will finish their foreclosure and they will eliminate Aaron Bay Community Association, the same plaintiff, okay, that is filing for today. As I said, whoever is gonna buy this specific property is gonna get into the footstep of that position in particular. Right now we're talking about the HOA of Aaron Bay in Parkland, Whoever is buying this position is going to have the same strength as the HOA. But the bank is on the top. He has the first lease position, and when he's coming, he's eliminating almost everybody, and he's eliminating everybody's interest from that lawsuit. All of these people here following the foreclosures, their interest is going to be eliminated basically. And George Bank are going to get title that it's stronger to anybody else. Nobody can contest that title, nobody can object to that title. In terms of court of equity, they are entitled for the first lien position, and you can even see that in their complaint. And I'm going to show you right now how to look at the complaint. You just click here and open in all pages, and here you go. Here is what I'm teaching people. Read the story, know the problem, you know how to resolve it, and this is where you can become valuable. This is where you can create wealth. This is how you can actually do things nobody else knows how to do, and you can take advantage of that knowledge. And you can see the mortgage was recorded in June 2004. They're giving you the book number, the page number. They're usually also adding up an exhibit here so you can look at the mortgage. It's now due and owing unpaid $671,000. And that's not even included attorney fees. That's not even including attorney fees. Remember the example I showed you now about the HOA, how much attorney fees they took? About $7,500 they took attorney fees for 30 hours just to bring the lawsuit. We are talking about a lawsuit here that has been going on for over a year now. So just imagine what would be the judgment out of this number. They defaulted in July 2001, July 2007. So we have about 3 years of unpaid $671,000. Okay, take interest, take attorney fees, take false insurance, take taxes they paid for that guy. They're gonna get to over $1 million judgment within a year. And this is how the bank creates equity in their part. They're investors, and that's what they do. And they know exactly how to do it. And they're waiting on the side, doing the on-title search. They make their judgment bigger and bigger. And when they come to the auction, they have a very high number to start with as a judgment. So this case in particular, as I just said, as I just mentioned, the bank is gonna come and foreclose at some point. And you can see he's got tremendous, crazy amount of money owed to him. And you can see the defendant here, Aaron Bay Community Association, is joined to the complaint because it may have some interest or a lien upon the property. And the bank is already saying that they are superior in the strength. Okay, at some point here they're saying that they are superior. This is actually to foreclose a mortgage on real property. Or they're telling you where the mortgage was recorded. It was assigned. And then they have the note or don't have the note. They're suing. Plaintiff is entitled for insurance, premium, taxes. They're telling you how much money extra they're going to sue. Plaintiff is entitled for insurance, premiums, taxes, assessments, and any other advances made on behalf of the defendants, as set forth in the note and mortgage. So just imagine how much money they're going to add up to this lawsuit. And then they're telling you that defendant Regent Barrack is inferior to them, Aaron Bay Community is inferior to them, and they filed the lease pendants. They already know about it. They filed lease pendants. American Express inferior. All these people they're going to eliminate in that foreclosure, and once they do, whoever was named is going to eliminate their position completely. So in about 10 months, I would say, this $55,000, whoever bought this property, is going to say goodbye to that $55,000 because the bank is going to come with a full judgment. And is going to name the HOA. It's going to name the new owner as well. So right now, basically, it's a really bad purchase because you're buying a position that in 8 months the bank is going to take from you. How can you recoup $55,000 in expenses in the purchase price within 10 months even if you rent this property for $5,000 a month, you're not gonna make it because you're not gonna be quick enough. Okay, it takes time until you get title. If there is somebody inside, you're gonna have to evict them. If you're gonna have to evict them, you probably have to go through some repairs. Okay, that's extra expenses. Every small item in an expensive house like this costs a fortune. I don't want to imagine if something is not functional there. Then you're gonna have to rent it. Once you're renting it, you're obligated as a landlord to respect the tenant's lease, right? This is not a joke. When you put a tenant inside, you gotta make sure you can respect their lease and comply with the terms of the lease. And if you're not gonna comply with the terms of the lease, you're gonna find yourself, instead of having a tenant, you're having a liability or a lawsuit. So your responsibilities and what you need to do in order to bring this property to a marketable or rentable condition, and the time it takes, spending $55,000 on a property that lease payment has already started, it's a huge mistake. It's a costly mistake. It's a $50,000 and more mistake. And this is one of the examples I'm trying to give here and to teach people what not to do and how not to carry on with sales that are not worth your time. You know, if I would look at this property, I would just within a second say, oh my God, there is a lease pending against this property. I'm not gonna buy this property. I only buy properties before the bank started, and I pay a reasonable price. I don't pay $100,000 on a property that's worth $600,000. For example, you're gonna have a good ratio so you can break even with your rent at least after 12 months. So if I would buy this property, for example, okay, and I can rent this. If I would buy this property, the only way I would buy it if it was before the lease payments. Then that's number one, because that tells me when the bank comes, I can fight them, and I can fight them, and I have control over that fighting. So it's a value that it depends on me, and I can drag them for another 2-3 years, meaning that the first year I want to recoup my money. So if I rent it for $5,000 and I have some renovation and expensive and stuff like that, I want to buy it for about maximum $40,000, because I know that within a year, more or less, I will break even. I will break even, I will bring rent, and I will know that the bank will come after 6 months, after a year, or maybe it will come after 2 years. I'll be lucky and I can rent this property for 5 years, and I've done it for many other properties that I own. And I'm gonna minimize my risk by also checking the community rules, right? You don't wanna buy an HOA that you have rental restrictions. What's the point? Are you gonna live in that property? It's a different story. So if you're buying a property with a rental restriction, or 1 year restriction, no restriction at all, or 55 and over, then maybe that position is not as good as you thought, because you cannot use the property to serve your strategy. And that's very important, because some people get carried away. Like today, this person just bought a property for $58,000. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to locate his information maybe, and just give him a call and say, hey, do you know there is another mortgage foreclosing on that property? And see if that if I can actually help somebody save $50,000, if not make $50,000, maybe I can help somebody save $50,000. And that's the purpose I'm trying to serve recently as a consultant, and somebody who is not keeping the secrets to himself, somebody who is open about truth about real estate investing and buying off-market real estate, especially buying properties at the auction when title is necessary and knowledge is can overcome any investor's money. Basically, if you know what you buy, you don't need that much of money. You just need to know what you buy. So knowledge is always more important. And let me see if I can locate that person information. Maybe I can give him a call and make a friendly chat with him.